All right, today we are going to take some notes over the equation of photosynthesis. So one of your objectives should be to know the balanced chemical equation for photosynthesis. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what we call the light reaction and the dark reaction. Finally, we're going to get a diagram in which you will fill out over the light reaction and the dark reaction. So, those are our objectives today. Let's start off here with the equation for photosynthesis. Here is the net equation. 6 molecules of carbon dioxide will react with 6 molecules of water with light energy. We need light from the sun for photosynthesis to occur. Actually, I guess it doesn't have to be from the sun. We can grow things inside if we have some kind of a lamp to give the light. Okay? So it doesn't necessarily have to come from the sun. But in most plants outside, we have light energy from the sun. And that yields, that's what that little sign is, that little arrow right there means yields. Okay? Yields C6H12O6. Anybody know what that is? It is a sugar, specifically which one? Glucose. Excellent. That is glucose. So C6H12O6 is the sugar glucose, and the final product is 6 molecules of oxygen. So once again, 6 molecules of carbon dioxide react with 6 molecules of water and light energy to yield glucose, C6H12O6, plus 6 molecules of oxygen. Now that is important that you understand this equation. You're probably going to see something with this equation on the end of course exam that you take later on this year. So make sure that you memorize this. I know you're going to see it on quizzes and tests coming up. I know you're going to see it on quizzes and tests. So it's a very, very important equation. Now, why is it so important? Why is this equation so important in our life? I couldn't hear you. Well, it replenishes some oxygen, number one, yeah. Okay, what else makes it important? Lewis? Okay, we're not producers, are we? Okay, are we autotrophs? We cannot make our own food. Where do we get our food from? Right here. Okay, right here. Indirectly, all of the energy can be traced back to photosynthesis, right? That's why this is so very important. Now let's talk about 2 different stages of photosynthesis. The 2 different stages are the light reactions, the photo part, and the Calvin cycle, which is the synthesis part. So the light reactions is the photo part, the synthesis part is the Calvin cycle. In the light reactions, in the light reactions, and it's important that you mark down and you know where these occur at. Your outline already has them. Where does the light reaction occur at? Where does the light reaction occur at? Yeah, Maddie? Huh? It's the photo part. Where does it occur? In the thylakoids. Look on your other page. You should have a diagram that shows the thylakoids, right? Can you pick out a thylakoid? What was the example I gave you of a thylakoid? Quarters. They were the quarters being stacked. You know what I talked to Mrs. Temple? You know what she told her, folks? Pancakes. Pancakes being stacked. I said, really? I always use quarters. You use pancakes. But nonetheless, we get the picture, right? Each of the little quarters is a thylakoid, right? And it stacks up to be a, what are the stacks of them called? The stacks begins with a G. The granum, okay? The granum. Grana would be plural, okay? But the stacks are the granum, the thylakoids are the quarters. So, the light reactions occur in the thylakoids. Doesn't that make sense? They got a green color in those thylakoids, don't they? What do you think they have in them? Well, the whole thing's a chloroplast. What makes them green? Chlorophyll. Excellent. Chlorophyll. Okay? So what happens in the light reactions? Well, water is split and oxygen is released. The Calvin cycle, which is the name for the dark reaction, where does this occur? Where does the Calvin cycle occur, Olivia? In the stroma, right? It forms the sugar from carbon dioxide using ATP and NADPH. Now, we haven't talked about NADPH, have we? Okay, that's another player in the game, and you're going to see that it is cycled back and forth. What the NADPH is it's an electron carrier. Okay, it's an electron carrier. You're going to see how it is cycled through when I show you and we get the diagram that we're going to put in our interactive notebook. Okay, but we're not going to talk in depth about NAD and plus an NADPH, okay? We know this guy, ATP, don't we? What's ATP? What is ATP? Adenosine triphosphate. Adenosine triphosphate. ATP. And remember, ATP is where we get what? Our energy. ATP is where we get our energy. So that's going to be a player here that we need. Now, the carbon cycle begins with carbon fixation, incorporating carbon dioxide into organic molecules. Okay? We said that during photosynthesis, during that equation, okay, up at the top of the page, we need water, we need carbon dioxide, and we need light, right? Well, we split up water in the light reactions. Here is where the carbon dioxide comes into play, in the dark reactions, the Calvin cycle. Okay? Now, that is all of your notes, correct? You should have the notes filled out. Okay? I am going to now pass out the diagram that I want you to put in the next page on your book. Okay, now ladies and gentlemen, we're going to discuss this diagram that we've put into our our interactive notebook. That is the diagram of photosynthesis. Okay? So, we're going to start right here, and you can just go ahead and write these things in, folks, because I don't have anything for you to glue in there. But let's start right here with light. We need light in order to have photosynthesis occur. Now, like I said before, where does the majority of the plants get their light from? From the sun, correct. So the majority of the plants get their lights from the sun. Now, we just said that water is also one of our reactants in the equation. Light and water. We haven't come upon the third one yet, but the light and the water. What are these things right here? These little green things. What are those? Those are the thylakoids, right? And the stack of thylakoids would be the granum. Okay? So here would be a stack, here would be a stack. There's another stack way over here of thylakoids to form a granum. Okay? So we have the light reactions occurring in the thylakoids. Well, flip back on the other page. What happened? What happened in the light reaction? Water was split, and what was given off? Oxygen. So where do you think oxygen's going to go? How about right down there? How about right down there? Here is oxygen given off. And there are those two guys we talked about, ATP and ADPH. Now, this whole thing is what? This whole big thing around here, what is that called? It's a chloroplast. Okay, it's the chloroplast. This is actually occurring. You can see down here that this whole thing is the chloroplast. Now, in the Calvin cycle, the dark reaction part, which we call the Calvin cycle, it occurs in the stroma, right? So the dark reaction occurs in the stroma. And it's got carbon dioxide that has this whole big cycle. And what is the product given off by the Calvin cycle? Glucose. Excellent. There we have it. So, you should have your diagram completed. Here's that right there. Didn't we talk about the cycle of ADP to ATP to ADP to ATP to ADP? That it just happens. It goes around and around and around. Well, it goes around and around and around due to the light reactions and the dark reactions. But you can see here, what is given in? Okay, what is taken in by the chloroplast? What do we need? Light. What else? Water. What else? Carbon dioxide. What do we give off? Oxygen. Glucose. Isn't that what we talked about in the equation? Isn't that what we talked about? So this is a fabulous picture, ladies and gentlemen. This is a fabulous picture to help you remember the light reaction occurring where? Light reactions occur in the, well, they occur in the chloroplast, specifically what part of the chloroplast? The thylakoids. The dark reaction occurs in the stroma. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to take some time. You can have the rest of the period to color those in. Make sure you color in. Make sure your table of contents is updated. I just updated mine this morning. Okay, make sure your table of contents is updated also.